All right, we are here for game 2 against our opponent HUD unit. We have a hand with 3 lands, one of which is our mana fixer, which is pretty good. And we've got some early turn plays. I think this is keepable, so we're going to go ahead and keep this particular hand. We did lose the die roll, so our opponent's going to play an island and pass to us. And we draw another land, which actually gives us all of our colors without having the mana fixer. So we're going to go ahead and play Mountain and Prying Blade. And next turn, we'll play our Sky Terror, which with both Flying and Menace makes him mostly a 2/2 unblockable. With the Prying Blade, is actually pretty good. Opponent plays another island. We draw our Territorial Hammerskull. We'll play our Plains, and we will play our Sky Terror and pass the turn. Now, next turn, we could play the Blossom Dryad, but I think we really need to get this Prying Blade attached to the Sky Terror. So we're going to play our Forest, and we are going to attach that equipment, and we're going to start making treasure tokens and pass to our opponent. Opponent still doesn't have a play, which is pretty bad for him. We do find a Raging Swordtooth, however. Let's see here, and we can cast the Raging Swordtooth. That will do 1 point of damage to our Sky Terror. He should survive it, but we're going to go ahead and attack first just to be on the safe side. I don't see our opponent having a way to deal 1 damage with blue and green. Does have a spell. He's going to put our Sky Terror on top of our library, and that means we're just going to go ahead and play our Raging Swordtooth, and we'll sack for green, and we'll pass the turn. Opponent's got to deal with this 5/5 trample now, and he doesn't have anything on the table yet. Opponent plays another land. Let's see. He's got a Herald of Secret Streams. So it looks like he's probably playing a Merfolk deck. We drew our Sky Terror. We're going to play this Unknown Shores. We are going to equip, and we'll go ahead and attack first. Gives us another treasure token. We're going to go ahead and play the Sky Terror, and that leaves us mana open to Lightning Strike if we really feel the need to do so. He plays another Forest. He's a little land-flooded, a little light on action, unfortunately. We draw Plains. We'll go ahead and attack. Opponent has another spell. He's got a Snapping Sailback. He can block our Raging Swordtooth, but we survive that. Now, if he double blocks the Swordtooth, we can Lightning Strike his Herald of Secrets. Yeah, that's what he's going to do. So we are going to assign to this guy first, and then we are going to Lightning Strike this dude. But he's got a spell to protect him. So, all right. So we're going to get to kill this Snapping Sailback, and we lose our Raging Swordtooth. Now, second main phase, we're going to cast this Territorial Hammerskull, I think. And we can... Yeah, we'll go ahead and pass the turn. Opponent has 3 cards in hand. Opponent does not have a main phase spell that he wants to cast. Oh, he is going to attack. I mean, I could block here, but he's definitely representing that he has some sort of combat trick. I could call his bluff, but I don't think the 2 damage is really going to hurt me that bad. He's got a Drover of the Mighty, which unfortunately is not so mighty without his dino buddies. We drew our Shining Aerosar, which is a good draw. We're going to go ahead and re-equip to our Sky Terror. And we're going to attack with both. Tap his guy down. Trigger. Tap his guy. Give him the old headbutt right to the face. Get our Prying Blade token. And we'll go ahead and cast this Shining Aerosar. And, sure. And pass the turn. Opponent might have a way out of this. He could have some sort of mass bounce spell kind of thing, but he didn't, so good to come back to us. Let's see here. He had some combat tricks. I don't think he didn't have any removal for our guys, though, so bringing in the Shaper Sanctuary, not necessarily good. Yeah, I didn't see enough of his deck to really warrant making any changes, so we're just going to go ahead and submit and go into round 2. Alright, we're back in game 2. We've got a 3-land hand and 1 of each color. That's about perfect. We also have that Sky Terror that was kind of the MVP of the last game, so we're going to go ahead and keep this hand. Opponent plays his island, passes to us. We drew a New Horizons. We're going to play our Plains and pass back to our opponent. Opponent has Forest and a Merfolk Branchwalker, who is going to explore and get the +1/+1 counter. We'll go ahead and play our Sky Terror. pass back to our opponent. Now, when he attacks, we're obviously not going to block here. It would be trading up, but I think having the Sky Terror to attack with is going to be the best. Yeah, definitely going to attack. No reason for us to block. Opponent has a Ravenous Daggertooth. We draw a Prying Blade. That's actually really good. So we could New Horizons this turn and get the +1/+1 counter on our Sky Terror. Or we could Prying Blade and attach it to the Sky Terror. That would give me a treasure token this turn. Ramps me up a little bit. Either's actually kind of a good play. Either ramps me a turn and bumps up my Sky Terror. The +1/+1 counter is nice. However, if my opponent bounces my creature, then we lose that +1/+1 counter. Versus the Prying Blade, which if we have it, we can always re-equip it. So I think that's the step we're going to go. That's the way we're going to go with this. And let's go ahead and attack. Gets us our treasure token, and we'll pass the turn. Now, if we draw a land, we have a lot of options. We could cast either the Raging Swordtooth or the Shining Aerosar. Even if we don't draw the land, we can Pterodon Knight. If we draw a land, we could also attack first, and then get our treasure token plus the extra land, and we can Colossal Dreadmaw. Opponent's coming in for 6. So it is a little bit of a race. Opponent plays a forest. We did not draw our land. But we can attack and then cast a blocker. So I think that's what we're going to do. Our opponent could very easily have a removal spell here. Could have like a bounce spell or something. Let's go ahead and attack first, though. Opponent takes it. Get our Prying Blade token. That gives us 5 mana. If he had 1 toughness creatures, we would play the Raging Swordtooth. But I think instead what we're going to do is play this Shining Aerosar, and that gives us another flyer. So we'll pass the turn. Hopefully that locks down his ability to attack for a turn or so. Opponent has a bounce spell, unfortunately. That hurts us bad. Opponent has another spell. Pirate's Prize. So he's going to draw 2 cards and create a treasure. Opponent plays a land and sacks his treasure, and he's going to get another creature, which means we're probably dead. We're going to draw a card that we can't cast, so we can cast this New Horizons. Yeah, I think we just concede, unfortunately, because no matter what we do here, we can block 1 creature, but then he's still dealing 5 damage to us. So we're going to concede. We will go ahead and run it straight back, though. Who would like to play first? This is a very land-heavy hand that doesn't have green. We'd be able to cast our Territorial Hammerskull and our Frenzied Raptor. We definitely need to draw a forest, but I think we can keep it. We'll play our mountain, pass the turn. Opponent plays a forest, passes back to us. We draw a Ravenous Daggertooth, getting all of our 3 mana spells. We'll play our plains and pass back to our opponent. Opponent plays his island and has a Drover of the Mighty. We drew our New Horizons, which would be great with our Blossom Dryad if we had that forest. So what I'm going to do is cast our Territorial Hammerskull and pass the turn. Opponent plays a forest. He's got a Jade Guardian, so it's going to be a 3/3 with Hexproof. Which means I can't tap it down with the Territorial Hammerhead. It's a pretty cool play for him. We draw another Plains. Let's see here. We'll go ahead and play our Frenzied Raptor, and we'll pass the turn. Opponent plays a forest. Opponent plays a Merfolk Branchwalker. Does get the +1/+1 counter. Waiting on our opponent to resolve his trigger. All right, we did finally draw our forest. That's good. So, what do we cast here? If we cast the New Horizons and we attach it to a non-forest card, then we can then cast the Blossom Dryad. I think that's what we'll do. So we'll choose a Plains, and we'll put the +1/+1 counter on our Territorial Hammerskull. And then we will tap for 2 green and play our Blossom Dryad. Now, I don't think that we can really attack here, so we'll pass the turn. Opponent is going to give his 3/3 Hexproof guy flying, which is pretty good. It's going to be hard to erase that. Opponent is going to attack for 5, and he gets a River Sneak. All right, we get a Pterodon Knight. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 mana to play with. We could cast our Ravenous Daggertooth and our Pterodon Knight, or we could cast our Colossal Dreadmaw. All right, I think we're going to cast 2 spells this turn. So let's go double green, red, white, and we will cast our Pterodon Knight. And we will untap that one, tap it again for double green, and sure red, cast our Ravenous Dagger too. Now let's see here. We could attack. We could tap down his Branch Walker. That means his Deeproot Warrior would probably block our Frenzied Raptor. We could just attack with the Hammer Skull. We would tap down his Branch Walker, and then he wouldn't really be able to block. So yeah, I think that's what we're gonna do. Opponent ends up taking 3, and we will pass the turn. Opponent's thinking. Kind of in the tank. Opponent has another Jade Guardian. River Sneak is going to get pumped up, and he put the +1/+1 counter on it. It's pretty solid. So he's going to get to attack with the unblockable and theoretically the flying. Don't think that we can really block here, so we're just going to have to take it. We draw a forest. So what do? We can definitely cast our Colossal Dreadmaw, and we will most definitely be doing that. As far as attacks, we can attack for 6, but I think we might have to keep our Pterodon Knight up to block his 5/5. Yeah, unfortunately, we're going to have to leave him back to block. So we're going to cast our Dreadmaw, and I don't think we can attack with our Territorial Hammer Skull either. I think we've just got to keep everything back to block with. And we lose, because our opponent is going to tap all of our guys. So that means we lose. So we are currently 1-1. So we will see you in the third game.